Of the sprint cars, this is the sprint car capital of the world. Kyle Larson dominated here in August. Can Ricky Thornton Jr. do it here tonight?
Only one driver has swept the entire weekend here at Knoxville, and that, of course, was the Dirt Late Model Hall of Famer Billy Moyer back in 2010. He won on Thursday, he won on Friday, and then he completed the sweep on Saturday. Tyler Erb, a couple years ago, James, won on Thursday and Friday. He did not get the win on Saturday. Ricky Thornton Jr. with a chance to do it here tonight, brother. He's on the pole. Chad Simpson on the outside. Chris Ferguson and Devin Moran in row 2. Mike Marlar and Brandon Overton in row 3. 31 cars, 75 laps. And as they come off turn number 4, ladies and gentlemen, this is your Dixie Chopper. Feel the thunder. At the end of lap number 1, no surprise, James, RTJ out front.
19th win here last night. He is so far perfect, but Chad Simpson says it's the best car he has had here in quite some time. In second, the current Lucas Oil MLRA points leader. There's a side-by-side battle at 1. Mike Marlar and Devin Moran. Devin Moran, a third place finish here on Friday night. Down the back straightaway, 2 laps to go. Give it 75 laps. No fuel stop right now as they go into turn number 4. Simpson on the outside. You know, this crowd's going to get excited. They've been fun to deal with all weekend long. And Chad Simpson into turn 1, Dustin. 3 in the books. He's 4/10 of a second behind the current Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series points leader.
You have a purebred Iowan running second. You have a former temporary Iowan
right, for about 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years running out front in Ricky Thornton Jr. 4 laps scored in this one, and James Mike Marlar has entered the chat.
Down the back straightaway. Mike Marlar, oh so good here. Remember, he had that stretch of victories, and then he was not here for 2 or 3 years, and he's on the bottom. Down the main straightaway, and Mike Marlar has come to second after starting in 5th with 5 in the books, Dustin.
Marlar wasting no time trying to put that Ronnie Delk own 157 up into the top spot, but just as quickly as he moves into second, Chad Simpson tries to take it back away from him. Marlar looked a little unsettled that time down in 3 and 4. He'll get his feet back under him, regroup, and try to close ground on your race leader, Ricky Thornton Jr. RTJ out front by 9/10 of a second. And James, your race leader is now on the same straightaway as the back of the field.
Yeah, this thing stays green again as they come out of turn number 4. The Todd and Vicky Burns 20 RT. Marlar in second. Down the main straightaway as they complete lap number 7. It's 7/10 of a second. Chad Simpson, Moran, Overton, Bronson, Fergie, Shirley O'Neill, and Dalton Wilson now in the 10th spot of the 18D. And here comes the 157, the Winfield, Tennessee veteran.
Mike Marlar right now your lead duo on the bottom. You see the 25 of Chad Simpson flashing into your screen occasionally. He's running the top side down in 1 and 2 and in turns 3 and 4, trying to gain ground on your leaders. Moran continues to run 4th and Overton runs 5th. Back at the front of the field, though, James, business about to pick up as Ricky Thornton Jr. is about to put the first car 1 lap down.
And he'll slide into the groove, and here comes Marlar on the bottom. Into turn number 1, Mike Marlar. All 31 cars still running about for lead out of turn number 2. It is Ricky Thornton Jr. and Mike Marlar. Chad Simpson, Devin Moran, Brandon Overton as they go into turn number 3. Now Thornton has to go to the outside. Mikey glued down at the bottom. Down the straightaway. Will we have a new leader, Dustin Jarrett?
As they come across the scoring loop, we do not. Ricky Thornton Jr. out front by 26 1/1000ths of a second. They stay side by side up front for the lead. Marlar, though, with an advantage on the bottom. James, you've got a new leader, at least in 3 and 4. It's Mike Marlar, but it's not official until they get to the stripe.
Down the main straightaway, it is official at the loop. Mike Marlar on lap 11 has taken the lead after starting in 5th. In the 157, Ronnie Delk out of Crossville, Tennessee, the car owner. There's Thornton in second. Chad Simpson remains in third. Devin Moran now will pressure Simpson, and it is Brandon Overton and Kyle Bronson running the top of the 40B. Has momentum coming out of turn 4. There's the bountiful lead again into turn number 1.
Yeah, Ricky Thornton Jr. James has changed his line, and it may be to his advantage as he's going to try to roll by the outside of Mike Marlar. James, 19 years in a row, Tradition continues. Nobody has led every single lap of this feature. Marlar will be credited with leading laps 11 and 12. Back out front on lap 13, Ricky Thornton Jr.
He'll slice through the middle between Boom Briggs and Tim Lance. There you see Marlar will follow. Chad Simpson trying to catch him in the 25 car. Down the back straightaway, Devin Moran and then Brandon Overton. Caution free so far as we work lap 14 of 75, and it's Ricky Thornton Jr. out in front in Knoxville.
RTJ doing RTJ things. 0.7 of a second, the advantage for the driver originally from Chandler, Arizona. Mike Marlar, the lead duo, James, they pulled away just a little bit there from third place Chad Simpson. Simpson at one time had started to reel those guys back in. There's a look back at third, fourth, and fifth. That's Simpson on the outside in that black and bright orange number 25. Devin Moran now going to try to get a run down to the inside. That's third, fourth, and fifth. Brandon Overton's joined the battle as well in the 4.
Devin Moran's only been here one time before. Now Overton will make the move in that NBC Tribute car. He'll take the spot. And it's not official till they cross the loop here on the main straightaway. And Brandon Overton has gone to 4th after starting in 6th. So Ricky Thornton Jr. led the first 10 laps. Marlar led laps 11 and 12. Thornton's been in front ever since. In the 20 RT for Todd and Vicky Burns out of Morgantown, Indiana. And right now, out at turn number 4, you see the battle here, back here through the field. They are still running. As you see the tail end of the field in turn 1, here comes Robinson now, and Marlar trying to retake the lead, Dustin, and down the back straightaway he does on the 157.
This is such a momentum racetrack, James. You know, one driver told me yesterday that when you hit your marks right, it can be really good, except for when the racetrack throws you for a loop. Marlar back out front officially on lap number 18, your third lead change in the first 18 laps here at Knoxville.
And I don't think it's the last one to you down the back straightaway.
So.
As they go into 3 around Ross Robinson, Lucas Oil regular Thorn to the outside. Mike Marlar glued to that bottom. In the 157 down the main straightaway. Josh Davis, Jerry Sprouse turning the wrenches on that car in turn number 1. Chad Simpson is still 3rd. Brandon Overton, Devin Moran 5th, and it's Bronson, Ferguson, O'Neill, Shirley, Dalton Wilson remains in 10th. Clean and green so far. The 22 Daniel Hilsebeck, the final car in the lead lap. He runs 24th right now.
James, that lead duo just continues to put distance and lapped cars between themselves and your third place driver, Chad Simpson. They're just every lap, that lead duo of Marlar and Thornton, they put more distance between themselves and Simpson, Overton, and Moran. That gap is now up to 3.3 seconds, and RTJ hiking that left front up on the berm, trying to take the lead back away from Mikey Marlar.
Yeah, that berm has been several drivers here in the past. I think Jimmy Owens was one of those back several years ago. Now Hilsebeck gets his lap back, so he'll still stay on the lead lap. He runs in 24th. And I believe we still have everybody, all 31 starters still running as the battle at turn 4. Now Matt Furman calls it a race for the Iowa City, Iowa veteran. Hits pit side.
Mike Marlar trapped behind a pair of cars in the 111 of Max Blair, the 22 of Hilsebeck. Hilsebeck doing a good job keeping himself on the lead lap. Coming around to complete lap 23. Marlar's going to go high. Will that open up the door for Ricky Thornton Jr.? RT going to use the berm to his advantage. He'll reclaim the lead on lap 23, your 4th lead change of the race.
Between these two drivers, Thornton and Marlar. Now Mikey gets the run. That's where you get the momentum at it, just like you do at Eldora, as Thornton shuts the door going into turn 3. Now Marlar back to the bottom. He'll roll through the middle. Thornton still leads behind the O'Reilly Auto Parts top rookie in the series, Max Blair, who runs in 24th right now. So Daniel Hilsebeck actually unlapped himself, so he remains on the lead lap in 23rd.
Saw Frankie Coomer do that one time at Brownstown Speedway back in the day, James. Ricky Thornton Jr. He's trying hard to try to put a gap between himself and Mike Marlar, and he's maybe found a groove to his liking as well. Frank Heckenus Jr. maybe off the pace in the number 99. For the time being, we stay green. Hilsebeck now goes back one lap down as RTJ turned the wick up a little bit. Ross Robinson also off the pace here on the front stretch.
And they're on the access road. Now Robinson slow into 1. Will he be able to make it off the track? Heckenus does. We stay green for the moment. 26 laps complete. Robinson makes the left-hand turn to the pit area. But right now, your leader continues to be Ricky Thornton Jr. as we work lap 27 here of 75 for $50,000 to win at the Lucas Oil Knoxville Late Model Nationals, the 19th edition.
4.4 seconds the advantage for Ricky Thornton Jr. and Mike Marlar over Chad Simpson, Brandon Overton, and Devin Moran. One car smoking considerably in turns 3 and 4, and it's the 11 of Spencer Hughes. A lot of smoke coming out from underneath the PCC Motorsports number 11, James.
Hughes and right now we got a battle for third off of turn 4, side by side, Brandon Overton and Marlar, and we're going to have a Gorsuch Performance Solutions caution. And Spencer Hughes, and he has mechanical issues on car number 11, Dustin Jarrett.
Indeed he does. It's the Lucas Oil Late Model Nationals here at Knoxville Raceway in Knoxville, Iowa. 27 laps scored in this 75-lap main event. Back at Knoxville Raceway in Knoxville, Iowa. Caution flag 27 laps in for the 11 of Spencer Hughes, who is going up in smoke. As the crew down there, they've pulled the hood off the Roth Heating and Cooling Clyburn tank lines. Number 11 trying to diagnose the issues on that car. And James, that's a tough break for Spence. He's had a good weekend. He started 9th in tonight's A main.
Well, they're checking it out, Ben. What do we have?
Well, they're down here taking a look at everything. That car started to puff smoke about 3 laps earlier, then it picked up considerably. They're looking under there, a lot of smoke coming out of the hood, but it looked like it may have been terminal. They're trying to see if they can figure out what it may be. If I get an update, I'll let you guys know, but he's down here in the Heartbeat Hot Sauce Hot Pit, and a few different crews down here taking a look under the hood.
All right, Ben, thank you very much. Well, that last lap did not count because it's the leader plus 3 in the Lucas Oil Series, so the pass by Overton to Simpson at the loop, so he'll go back to 4th with Brandon Overton.
And that erases a 4.8 second advantage that Ricky Thornton Jr. and Mike Marlar had over Simpson, Overton, and Moran as the crews continue to look underneath the hood of the PCC Motorsports number 11 of Spencer Hughes. So 4 lead changes in the first 23 laps of this race.
Between two drivers.
Absolutely
Amazing.
Hey guys, that oil line loose on the 11. They're going to try to see if they can't get him back in there, but right now a lot of different crews pitching a hand in.
And that's the best scenario possible for the PCC
Well, it is
team.
If you got to shut down in time. You don't want to run it dry, but they're down here and they're thrashing on it, trying to get it back out there. Rodney Wing, everybody else with that crew working on the number 11.
Right now, an early contender for the Todd Steele Buildings hard charger, Tim McCready, up 8 spots, but on the Delaware double file restart, 27 in the books, DJ. It's Thornton, Marlar, Chad Simpson, Overton, Moran. Shirley is now up to 6th, and Bronson O'Neill, Shepard, and Chris Ferguson runs in 10th. Knoxville's not disappointed so far, my friend.
It sure hasn't.
And that streak will continue, as you mentioned. 19 straight years. The winner will not lead every lap, but we'll see what happens.
27 laps scored, yellow lights turned off, green flag about to wave in the Racing for Heroes restart zone. Ricky Thornton Jr. is the Pied Piper at the head of the pack. And look at the restart. Chad Simpson gets to the 25.
Here comes Devin Moran. Here comes Kyle Bronson. They got that top of the momentum on turn number 2. Simpson back to 2nd. Moran who'll go to 3rd. Here comes Overton, and Marlar has gone from 2nd to 5th on the restart. And here comes Brian Shirley. Very impressive in the World 100 last week. The Illinois driver, the one here in 06 now, making a bid for a top 5.
Good race from about 2nd on back as RT wastes no time putting a little bit of distance between himself and this battle for 2nd. James, Devin Moran tries to get on, and Moran slips up coming off the corner, and just like that, Brandon Overton drives by. That is just how quick things happen at Knoxville.
As we said before, you could be leading on one lap and next lap running 5th. Ricky Thornton Jr. still leads 2.2 seconds. Out at turn number 2, Chad Simpson 2nd, Overton, Marlar down the back straightaway. Mike Marlar, it fell to 5th. He's back to 3rd. Bronson working the top. Man, 3 distinct groups here at Knoxville as they come off at turn 4, but RTJ continues to show the way.
30 laps are scored, 45 laps remain, and RT has a 2.3 second advantage, just 3 laps after the caution flag for Spencer Hughes. Oh man, tight battle there between Chad Simpson, Mike Marlar, and Brandon Overton. Speaking of Spencer Hughes, James, worth noting, they were able to get that car back out on the racetrack. He's at the tail of the field, did not lose a lap.
Well, Chad Simpson shut the door on the back straightaway. It's hard to see how these cars with the self-containment seats and how it goes. And Mike Marlar's going to power to the outside, and Mike Marlar goes back into second. Here comes Shirley and Moran now. Here comes Hudson O'Neal, the World 100 winner, but almost a straightaway lead behind Ricky Thornton Jr. to turn one. But Mike Marlar might be the fastest car on the racetrack right now, other than Ricky Thornton Jr. And here comes Kyle Bronson.
So as you mentioned, James Marlar dropped back on that restart, kind of got stuck there on the high side, and they freight trained him down low. Once he got his feet under him, though, the 157 is looking good, trying to reel back in. Your race leader, Ricky Thornton Jr. And James, you just said it, Kyle Bronson has driven his way onto the Big River Steel podium, at least for the time being.
Looking for his best run. Here comes Overton. Overton gets the run on the bottom. Remember, for that last caution, he had taken third, but that was all wiped out under caution. And meanwhile, the lead was 3.1 last time around. This time it's up to 3.2 for Thornton. But the tail end of the field inside into turn number 3.
Yeah, good battle there on your screen for position number 4. Just in front of them, a battle for the second spot as well, as KB40 going to work his way around the 157 of Mike Marlar. So move Kyle Bronson up to second spot from 7th, and he will now try to do something that, well, not a lot of guys have been able to do this year. He's going to try to reel in Ricky Thornton Jr. 35 laps in the books.
Yeah, the biggest win of KB40's career was the $53,000 to win I-80 Silver Dollar Nationals a few years ago, and right now he's got a good hot rod down the main straightaway. 36 complete. He is 3.3 seconds behind Ricky Thornton Jr., who's picked up the tail of the field around Tim Lance and Max Blair.
And RT, that lead, James, has been anywhere from 3 to 3.3 seconds here for the last several laps now, as RT gets that run off the bottom. But he's got a pair of Iowans in front of him, both Todd Cooney in the 30, whose late model he's driven a few times, actually won the Boone Super Nationals in one of Cooney's cars. Daniel Hilsebeck as well. Those two cars fighting for position at the back of the field. Ricky Thornton Jr. looking for an opening.
And Bronson, the fastest car, getting that lap. Bronson, meanwhile, here comes Thornton on the bottom. Kyle Bronson has a bead on the lead. Here comes KB40 down the main straightaway into turn 1. Kyle Bronson, how about this, working that top shelf? Third is Marlar, then it's Overton, Brian Shirley the 5th, down the back straightaway. Thornton behind traffic into turn 3, Dustin.
We just said it was a 3-second lead about a lap and a half ago. Kyle Bronson on the move in the 40B. What was just a 3.3 second lead a few laps ago was 0.6 of a second that time by at the straight. 39 in the books, and here comes the killer.
Could we have our third different leader of the race? Here comes Bronson on the bottom. He might surprise the 20 RT a little bit out at turn number 4. Right there, Thornton, he's closed down with about 6 car lengths behind him into turn 1. 40 in the books, 35 to go. It's down to 0.9 of a second. We got a car in the middle back straightaway off the pace, and the Gorsuch Performance Solutions caution is out.
Tough break. It's Dalton Wilson on the back straightaway that is slowing, and that will bring out the Gorsuch Performance caution. Unofficially 40 laps in the books. We'll see if that one takes. If so, that means 35 laps remain. It's the Lucas Oil Knoxville Late Model Nationals presented by E3 Spark Plugs. Caution flag flies here at Knoxville for Dalton Wilson as Noah Bushman, Talon Center, and the crew going to go to work on that car. James, looks like a flat tire on the 18D.
Well, the caution you mentioned, we did get 40 in the books, Ben Shelton.
Well, I think actually all 4 tires might be up. They're looking under the rear end of this race car, trying to see what the issues may be. They're jacking it up, and again, several crews down here helping in the Heartbeat Hot Sauce Hot Pit, but specifically on the left rear, that's where they're specifically looking, and they'll go to work on suspension under there, possibly something in the rear end. I'll try to get an update, guys, but all 4 tires are up on Dalton Wilson's 18D.
And you mentioned the update on Spencer Hughes. They did get the oil line back on there.
Yes, sir.
But I believe that car is back in the pit, or he might just be directly behind the 18D of Dalton Wilson, so that team may be using this caution flag to maybe tidy up anything they weren't able to on that last caution on lap number 27. And James, it's official, that was a fully scored lap. So 40 are in the books, 35 remain in this 19th running of the Lucas Oil Knoxville Late Model Nationals here at Knoxville Raceway.
So right now, Boom Briggs out of the race. He will finish 31st. Matt Furman 30th. Frank Heckeness Jr. 29th. Ross Robinson 28th. Justin Zeitner, 27th, but we still have, I believe, 26 cars still on the race.
That is correct, and that means that this thing stays green. Obviously, these guys are going to catch the tail end of the field once again. Ben, back down to you.
Dalton Wilson, just an adjustment down here. Was all they came in. Car wasn't very good. Made some adjustments on it. Same deal right now. Spencer Hughes, they've gone to work on the back of that race cars. It's had TLC on both ends, and Spencer will make his way back out onto the racetrack. It's been a little bit busy down here. But how about that battle at the front of the pack? Kyle Bronson looking for a good run for that team. Started the year strong. Hadn't had the best of luck here lately, but right now looking strong, trying to find a way around RTJ.
Yeah, Ben, we saw him pick up his career best win, 53K at I-80 a few years ago, and he's going to pick the outside on Marlar. So Mike Marlar's recovered. He was second on the last restart, fell to fifth. Now he's back into third in the 157, Dustin.
Yeah, and he's going to be on the inside on this restart because Bronson's chosen the outside lane. I think that's actually where both those drivers want to be. Bronson's been making up ground on the high side of the racetrack. Marlar looks a little more comfortable on the bottom of the speedway. We'll see if either of them have anything for Ricky Thornton Jr. on this restart, again with 40 scored, 35 laps remaining. Of course, Ricky Thornton Jr., as we talked about, his best finish in this race came last year. He was fourth, and Kyle Bronson fifth in this race back in 2019. The yellow lights have been turned off. Green flag wave this time by James.
Devin Moran, who's in the top five right now, back in eighth. Brian Shirley, by the way, started 13th, and now he runs in position number 5 at the Racing Freeways restart zone. 40 down, 35 to go in the 19th annual Lucas Oil Late Model Knoxville Nationals, and the current series points leader Ricky Thornton Jr. will lead them to the line.
RTJ brings them around. They fan out nearly 3 wide. Coming off corner number 4, Brandon Overton thought about splitting the difference with Mike Marlar and Kyle Bronson, and RT slips up a little bit in corner number 2.
Well, 2 different leaders. We may have a third here shortly. Far from over. Hang in there. Here comes Kyle Bronson. Up top, down the straightaway. Ricky Thornton Jr. still leads, but the 40B on the move.
Look at this racetrack, James. Oh, and the caution is out. We've got big time trouble in the River City as 1, 2, 3, 4 cars have come together. The 16 of Tyler Bruning is on his side. That's Corey Hedgecock and the Jason Rowano number 98. The 18D of Dalton Wilson and the 22 of Chris Ferguson. And I don't know that we were able to even get one lap in before this melee brought out the Gorsuch performance caution again here at Knoxville. Well, safety officials making their way to the accident down in turns 3 and 4, checking on the drivers. Take just a minute to get this cleaned up. Those of you watching at home, don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this. It's the Knoxville Late Model Nationals here on MAF TV. Welcome back to Knoxville, ladies and gentlemen, where the red flag is out for an accident down in turns 3 and 4. Multi-car accident involving 4 or 5 drivers. Red flag is out as the safety crews, number 1, clean up the accident site that you can see there in kind of the upper left-hand part of your screen, and then 2, to check on the condition of the drivers involved in that accident. So this will be an extended delay. Those of you watching at home live on MAV TV on Flow Racing, we're going to step aside again and thank the folks that make this a possibility as they get things cleaned up down in turns 3 and 4. We come back, we do our best to give you an update on the situation down in turns 3 and 4 that's put us under red with 40 laps complete, 35 laps to go in the 19th running of the Lucas Oil Knoxville Late Model Nationals.
that maybe he did need a little more help getting out of the car, so they slowed down just a little bit and taken a little extra time to get the driver out, get everything handled over there. So that's why it's taking just a little bit longer than you might think it should, but things are coming along nicely over there. We'll be getting that car down off the fence here in just a moment, get it up on the rollback, and then we'll be ready to go fire the cars back up and get back to racing here. In the meantime, feel free to...
Welcome back to Knoxville Raceway, where we stay under a red flag for an accident down in turns 3 and 4. And James, the good news is that the drivers involved in the accident, they all tapped the roof of their car, said that they were okay and everything. Tyler Bruning had started out of his race car, and as he started to get out, what happens a lot of times. He started to get out under his own, realized, man, I may not be able to. A little bit of leg pain there, and so he signaled the safety crew over to just maybe give him an assist in getting the ambulance, just as a precautionary measure, just to make sure everything was okay. So kudos to him for taking the initiative to do that, and that is why we're under an extended red flag here with 40 scored, 35 to go in the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series Knoxville Nationals at Knoxville Raceway.
Yeah, and that car is, about 5 or 6 races old down there, that Longhorn that they've acquired here in the last month or so. So
it's a tough break.
It's tough luck for him.
For anyone.
For anyone, absolutely. And he came so close here last year to getting his first national win. And he was he finished second last year, and that pays $25,000. But right now, he will not finish here tonight.
Well, Bruning is an accomplished racer, James, former Deary Brothers champ, 2-time winner of the Yankee Dirt Classic as well. And it unfortunately puts a damper on his evening. Ben Shelton will send it downstairs to you.
Well, a couple of notes. You see Corey Hedgecock, he's on the rollback, and the Jason Rowan BMF race car. They're going to take it back to the pits if that chassis needs to be fixed. I know who's going to fix it, the guy driving it. They build those race cars. Meanwhile, Dalton Wilson was collected in that melee as well, and they came down here and got the nose bent back up as the filter panel was dented in a little bit, and the nose was curled up, and they had Ross Robinson jump on the front of it, which turns out will bend it back the other way in a hurry. So they've done that, and they're going to work now. Right front suspension of this race car, taking advantage of this long red flag. But tell you what, things happen in a hurry here at Knoxville, and you're going so fast, especially in these restarts. A lot of guys with nowhere to go. I looked up, and it had already happened, guys. Not sure what the cause of it all was, but right now, Dalton Wilson, they're trying to get back into the party here tonight as they're finally making some progress over in 4.
Well, I mean, we've had, 2 different leaders this race, but I'm telling you, Ben, this Kyle Bronson just has got a good hot rod. In fact, the last completed lap we did, he was the fastest car on the racetrack. Was Kyle Bronson.
Yeah, and Kyle's, he started the year out fast, man. I think he came out of Speed Weeks, I believe 2nd in the World of Outlaw standings, and 5th in the 5 wins on the year overall, a couple of crate wins. I think he's currently 6th in the World of Outlaw standings, and they went and bought the Longhorn race car. Still have the Rockets, but wanted to just try something a little bit different, and that team trying to find some juice here late in the year. Looking strong, but we've seen it so many times, and if Randy Weaver was here, we would talk to him about it. Now these cars sit there for a long time, and you got to wonder about tire pressures. You got to worry about tires sealing over, and a little bit of everything on an extended red like this as finally we go back to yellow flag conditions here at Knoxville.
So Tyler Bruning, the final car to be removed from the racetrack. So Ferguson, it was Ferguson, then it was also involved in that was Hedgecock, right? And Bruning. There were 4 cars down there. And Dalton Wilson, yep.
Yes.
There you see the 16 car, the Skyline Motorsports entry up on the hook. So we'll go back under caution. 40 laps complete. It'll be Ricky Thornton Jr., Kyle Bronson, Mike Marlar, Brandon Overton, and Brian Shirley, Dustin.
And for the folks watching at home, did not have a camera angle, unfortunately, to capture that replay as the field begins getting lined back up. In the Delaware double file restart, as you mentioned, James, that means your race leader, Ricky Thornton Jr., will be by himself out front looking for his 31st overall win of 2023 and trying to become the first driver to sweep this Knoxville weekend since Billy Moyer did it back in 2010.
So Kyle Bronson, again, he started in 7th. Marlar started right in front of him in 5th. And Thornton started from the pole, but they've gone back and forth here early on in this race.
Brian Shirley, James, working his way through the field, maybe an early candidate for that Todd Steele Buildings Hard Charger. He started back in row 7, and he now finds himself inside the top 5.
Hey guys, real quick down here, Corey Hedgecock. We didn't see what happened. What happened from your perspective? I know you have a torn up race car.
I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and look at the replay and decide who to call on Monday. Somebody threw a slider from hell, and I think hit Ferguson. I think it was turbo. I might be wrong, but just decent race car, tore up over stupidity.
All right, guys, very dejected Corey Hedgecock down here. 12 wins on the year for that driver in the Jason Rowan Racing entry, and it is tore up. So we're back underway.
All right, thanks a lot, Ben. 40 lap score, green flag back out, and Bronson gets a run on Ricky Thornton Jr. into 1 and 2.
How about Brandon Overton in the 4 car out of turn number 2? This is where the momentum is. Thornton has his momentum swayed just a little bit. He goes to the outside. Now here comes Bronson, and here comes Overton. Marler working the bottom. Out at turn 4 as we work lap 41. Hudson O'Neal bidding for a top 5 around Brian Shirley as Ricky Thornton Jr. still leads in Knoxville, Iowa.
RTJ's been the leader since lap 23. James, by far the longest stretch anybody has led in this race, an event that's already had 4 lead changes, just a few laps past halfway. KB40 now trying to get the momentum built back up on the high side of the speedway and not let Ricky Thornton Jr. get too far out of his crosshairs.
Right now, Chad Simpson, who ran second for most of his races, back into 8th. Devin Moran is back into 7th, but it's all Thornton, Bronson, Marler, Overton, Hudson O'Neal, your top 5. Last time around, DJ was 9/10 of a second. As Bronson down the main straightaway, it will be 1.1 seconds the advantage for the Martinsville, Indiana driver, Ricky Thornton Jr.
You heard so many drivers talk about it. That clean air out front of the field makes a big difference at a big racetrack, especially a place like Knoxville, and that's enabled RTJ to pull out front by a 1.1 second advantage the last time by. This time by gains a couple tenths. 1.3 is the advantage for the 20 RT as we look back on Hudson O'Neal trying to drive under Brandon Overton and take the 4th spot away.
We still have 23 cars out here running, and they're going to pick up the tail end of the field here very, very shortly. Bronson has a run down the main straightaways. You see O'Neal battling on the bottom of the 4. Brandon Overton, they go side by side by a nose. It's Overton. It was 1 second, but Kyle Bronson now, as Tim Lance, the final car there in front of your leaders off of turn 4, and Max Blair in front of him.
Still side by side as Brandon Overton and Hudson O'Neal. That is a great race. And while that's been going on, as you'd mentioned, James, at the front of the field, Ricky Thornton Jr.'s caught the tail end of the field, and Kyle Bronson has slowly started to reel the race leader back in. That lead got up to about 1.4 seconds, and there you can see it's no longer 1.4 seconds. It's now 0.8 of a second as Kyle Bronson closing in, and Mike Marler that last time by the fastest, well, was the fastest driver on the track. That time it was KB.
Yeah, they're going to close on Thornton because in front of them they got 2 wide, and that's Hilsebeck and Todd Cooney off of turn 4. So it's going to get close here for the lead down the main straightaway. Ricky Thornton Jr. and Kyle Bronson into turn number 1. Kyle Bronson, it's down to 0.7 of a second, down to turn number 2, and he's got 4 cars in front of him. Your race leader, Ricky Thornton Jr., Destin.
Nobody in between the 40B and the 20 RT, and nobody behind the 40B, separating himself from the 157 of Mike Marler. Side by side, and Ricky Thornton Jr. will split a pair of Iowans down in 1 and 2. What a move by RTJ.
50 in the books, 25 to go. Now Mike Marler trying to reel in Kyle Bronson. It's 2.4 seconds from 1st to 3rd off of turn 4. RTJ doing RTJ things, and right now he's got it all going on right now to turn number 2.
When we look back on this race, James, that move right there on lap number 50, or on lap 49 rather, that might be the move that we talk about, splitting the 22 of Hilsebeck and the 30 of Todd Cooney. As you can see, the advantage that has given Ricky Thornton Jr. It was just 0.6 of a second a couple laps ago, and now it's nearly a 3-second lead for Ricky Thornton Jr. and Kyle Bronson. Not only does he have his hands full with the back of the field, James, he's about to have his hands full with Mike Marler, but a nice move right there by the 40B of Kyle Bronson.
Around Cooney, now Marler will have to get around him. Meanwhile, nobody in front of Thornton right now. He's about a half a straightaway behind the tail end of the field as they head down the back straightaway. Now Bronson, He will clear those two cars down the back straightaway, but he's 3.4 seconds back as we work lap 53.
Closing in on the tail end of this race, James. Just 23 laps to go for Ricky Thornton Jr. And it seems like he's out front by a mile. Kyle Bronson, though, finally, with pretty much a clear track in front of him, Dalton Wilson is in between the two cars, and he is on the inside of the racetrack and shouldn't spoil the runs the 40KB gets, or the 40B gets. We look back on your fourth place car, Hudson O'Neal. It's RTJ, Kyle Bronson, Mike Marlar, Hudson O'Neal, Brandon Overton. That's your top 5 cars, James, with 21 laps to go.
Yeah, still 23 cars out on this racetrack. You see the battle there. Brandon Overton in the 5th spot. And then Brian Shirley behind him in 6th. It's still 3 seconds the advantage for Ricky Thornton Jr.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable what he has been able to do here this weekend and really all season long. The driver of the SSI Motorsports 20 RT is, it's like maybe the 8 of
the roof
Ryan
support,
Shirley, yeah, that roof post there
Yep.
on the right side of the race car, flopping just a little bit as he tries to reel back in the 4 of Brandon Overton. That's a battle for 4th, both of them trying to work by the lap car of Daniel Hilsebeck in 22.
Meanwhile, Ricky Thornton Jr. up top coming out of turn number 4. Kyle Bronson has cleared about 3 lap cars. Bronson now, as you see Thornton into turn number 1. Bronson right now will enter turn number 1. It's 3.2 seconds, steady lead for Ricky Thornton Jr., the 32-year-old, into turn 3. Now he'll dive low behind the 58 of Garrett Alberson, who runs in 15th.
Ricky Thornton Jr., 3.2 seconds is the advantage for that driver as Alberson does go a lap down right there as you see the 20 RT slide up in front of the Ken and Beth Roberts Racing number 58.
Oh, man. Slide in front of the Coon Dog. And meanwhile, Kyle Bronson is making up a little bit of time, cut 7/10 of a second off that last time around, but Ricky Thornton Jr. out in front. Bronson now is going to have to clear Todd Cooney, and he's going to have to do it quickly because we're going to have 15 laps to go this time around.
Yeah, 2 seconds was the advantage the last time by for Ricky Thornton Jr. Kyle Bronson had been faster than RT for 3 consecutive laps. Oh my goodness, big time trouble. Down in turns 3 and 4, the red flag is out. Kyle Bronson hard in the wall. He goes up and over with 16 laps to go here at Knoxville.
After sending it in hard there in turns 3 and 4, got some major air as I looked over, Chris.
59 laps in the books here at Knoxville, ladies and gentlemen, for a violent accident down in turns 3 and 4. Kyle Bronson, your second place car, got too high in the corner. He went up and over. And James, the good news, he tapped the roof of his race car, and there you can see Kyle Bronson is out of the car and okay. Wow.
I mean, he was making some progress there. He had cut that lead down, and you see Kyle Bronson walking away. Man, you give it all you got, and he was giving it all he's got. We expect nothing less from that Brandon, Florida driver. We've seen him for so long. Man.
He's fun to watch.
He is fun to watch, absolutely.
He really is, and he is he's fun to talk to. He's a likable driver. I know you and I enjoy visiting with him and talking with him whenever he can. He's big supporters of us and what we do, and he's another one of these guys that we say it all the time. They do extraordinary things, but they make them look very ordinary. These guys are really and truly superheroes out there on the racetrack, and there is no such thing as an easy wreck here at Knoxville, and that one certainly was not.
Guys, I caught the tail end of that, and that was definitely a vicious wreck over in turns 3 and 4. Good to see him walking away. Kyle Bronson walking back to the pit area, and we'll catch up with him. Kyle, after that ride, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I had a good car there, you know. It sucks when guys are 3 seconds off the pace and stays out there racing.
What happened? And
It's all my fault, you know. I slid that guy, you know, and just got in too hot, and I had to get him behind me where I didn't wreck behind him there, and I just got over a wall and right front climbed that berm and turned me over.
all right, Kyle Bronson dejected but okay, making his way down. They're going to check him out down here as the poor EMTs that got to keep up with him. God bless them because he's setting a world record pace walking back to the hauler right now.
Yeah, and the last completed lap, he was the fastest car by 0.5 of a second on the racetrack. But there you see the end result there. Man, what a shame.
Indeed it was. Well, they got the rollback down there, and of course it will take a few minutes to get this cleaned up. We're going to step aside. This is the Lucas Oil Knoxville Late Model Nationals presented by E3 Spark Plugs. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to Knoxville Raceway here in Knoxville, Iowa, under a red flag with 59 laps scored for that driver. Kyle Bronson, the 40B, got upside down in turns 3 and 4. He's okay. He has made his way down to the infield, and Ben Shelton, Devin Moran has made his way to the Heartbeat Hot Sauce Hot Pit.
Yeah, they jacked it up. They immediately went to looking under the rear end of the race car. All 4 tires are up, but they are checking in the right rear. Not sure if something may be bent there, if they're just going to try to make an adjustment, but a lot of eyeballs down here on the right rear of this number 99 car. He was running 7th before that red flag.
Yeah, trying to get into that top 4. He was right now in 6th. Overton, who is 4th in points, is now 5th, but he was ahead of McCready, who's 14th right now
and James,
in the running order, DJ.
I'm sorry, remind folks again why that top 4 is important.
At the top 4, locked into Eldora there. They're run for $500,000. Well, the top 4 in the points. And Devin Moran has only been here twice. Well, this is the second time he's been here, and when he drove the Dunn Benson car, he ran 4th here in this race. And looking forward to Brownstown next weekend, but he wanted a good finish here tonight, obviously.
Yeah, his dad, Donnie, ran in this race several times. The best finish was 3rd back in 2006 for Big D, the original $1 Million Man, Donnie Moran.
You see Hall of Fame crew chief Stevie Norris down there, the right rear of that car.
Steve Norris, crew chief for Billy Moyer, members of the Devin Moran team, Chuck Kimball, Tanner McLaughlin, and the rest of that crew, checking out the 99 to see what they might be able to fix. Ben, down to you.
Yeah, and it's a 4-bar plate that's broke on the 99. They're trying to get it patched back up for these last 16 laps, but broken 4-bar plates got him down here in the Heartbeat Hot Sauce Hot Pit. Guys, the first half of this race was pretty uneventful, but man, it has been crazy once we got past the halfway mark. And if you're these front runners, you got to be wondering what is going on out there. And these long stoppages of action, again, you won't worry about your tire pressures, you worry about your tires sealing up, or just losing your groove. And 16 laps to go is a long time around this racetrack.
And Thornton now will have the 3-time winner this race, Mike Marlar, Dustin. He'll go to 2nd. O'Neill will now be 3rd. Then Overton and Shirley will be your top 5. So that'll move Davenport up 2 spots, right? And then Shepard, Young Hands, and Chad Simpson. And then Tyler Erb will now be 10th. There's Ricky Thornton Jr. looking for his 20th win this season in the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. The all-time record before this year was Scott Bloomquist in 2016 when he won 15 times. As you mentioned, Ricky Thornton Jr. had only won 5 Lucas Oil races before this year.
Well, right now, James with 59 laps scored. Currently and unofficially, the Todd Steele Building's hard charger of the race from 26th to 14th. It's T-Mac Tim McCready who grabbed a win in this race back in 2008. There's a good look at T-Mac and that Donald and Gina Bradsher Paylor Motorsports Mega Plumbing of the Carolinas, number 39. Chase Younghands has currently gained 11 spots. Younghands up to 10th from the 21st starting spot, and Jonathan Davenport started 18th. He's currently running 8th. JD has gained 10 positions.
And the engines are fired back up as Todd Cooney makes his way back onto the racetrack.
And there's a look at the 40B of Kyle Bronson getting hauled off the racetrack on the rollback. And man, oh man, again, that is just that's tough. That is very, very tough.
Yeah, you got to think that car's got, man, what about 5 or 6 race nights on it tops, and not sure how much you're going to salvage of that one. That might be heading back, see if they can do anything with it.
He had a good run last week in the World 100 too, Ben.
He did. I mean, he had speed. He had speed the entire weekend. He had speed tonight, and he said as much. And got in there, lap traffic, went up high, wall got him. And when you crash here, you don't crash soft, you crash hard. And just glad the race car did its job, and Kyle was able to walk away. That's
the big thing, is that these race cars, and I know that we talk about it a lot, Ben and James, but man, oh man, the safety in these race cars has just come a long, long way over the course of the last 10 to 12 years.
Oh, with the self-containment seats, they had the neck restraints and just everything. So Ricky Thornton Jr., 59 laps, Dustin, officially in the books. As you see, the World 100 winner, Hudson O'Neal. And so now Mikey Marlar will have the choice.
He'll have the choice of inside or outside lane. Looks like he's going to choose outside. Hudson O'Neal, and Hud even mentioned this when he talked to Ben down there earlier before the race started. It's been kind of a quiet weekend for him. Maybe not the weekend that they had anticipated. And again, a lot of drivers would love to have started this race in 10th and everything. But fresh off a World 100 win, I think that they had maybe higher expectations, at least for the first 2 nights. Well, Hud making up for that now. He currently runs in P3.
Well, that race last week at Eldora, he and Davenport battling it out to the very end. Now remember, Mark Richards, Rocket 1, had never won the World 100 till last week. They have never won here at Knoxville. They have never won the Jackson 100 as the Rocket 1. Huddy's won it. You and I was on the call on that one. But right now on this restart, boy, Mikey Marlar, late in the race here at Knoxville. Can Ricky Thornton Jr. hang on and get the victory here tonight?
Well, remember, Marlar led laps 11 and 12. He also led laps 18 through 22, so he would like nothing more than to get back out front. Hudson O'Neal has not led this race. Ricky Thornton Jr. has led since lap 23. He wants to lead 16 more. We're about to go back to Green Flag Racing here at Knoxville. 59 in the books. $50,000 on the line, and Ricky Thornton Jr. fires in the Racing for Heroes restart zone.
See how the tires, if they did seal up under caution, and the red flag. Marlar slides up the track. O'Neal on the bottom. That momentum out of turn number 2. Mike, he'll go to second. And here comes 49. Jonathan Davenport, the defending race winner, now up to 5th. And it's Ricky Thornton Jr. with 15 laps to go out in front.
Jonathan Davenport started 18th, James, and he's trying to work his way inside the top 5, and he'll do so. He gets a great restart. JD may not be done yet as he momentarily slides up to 3rd in front of Hudson O'Neal. Hud going to cross him back over down the back straightaway. Again, that's 3rd, 4th, and now 5th on your screen with Hudson O'Neal, Jonathan Davenport, and the 4 of Brandon Overton.
Didn't we just see those 2 a week ago?
I think so.
The 1 and the 49. Right now, 61 laps complete. The lead is 1.6 seconds. Thornton over Marlar. O'Neal is 3rd. Davenport 4th. 5th is Overton. 6th is Shirley. Chase Younghands a good run for the Kansan. He's up to 7th.
Brandon Shepard right now is 8th. Tim McCready is 9th, and Tyler Erb rounds out the top 10. Ricky Thornton Jr., though your race leader, wastes no time putting distance between himself and the rest of the field. He's already up to a 2.1 second advantage over Marlar. That's RTJ on the left side of your screen. James on the right. The battle for 4th. Jonathan Davenport has it. Brandon Overton trying to take it.
Well, there's still 22 cars out of the 31 original starters. Tim Lance, the final car, and right now he is on the same straightaway as Ricky Thornton Jr. Mike Marlar, as you mentioned, 2.8 as they come out of turn 4. Now Thornton will quickly pick up the tail of the field. This may be the chance for Marlar, but time is a ticking because we've got 11 laps to go.
Yeah, the other thing working against Marlar is RTJ closes in on the back of the field. The first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars to go one lap down, at least as it stands right now. They're all running on the bottom of the racetrack. Your race leader, Ricky Thornton Jr., is running on the high side of the speedway. As we look back at Devin Moran trying to pick his way back through the field. He's currently in 9th. The 8S of Brian Shirley, he runs in 8th, and that's the 39 of Tim McCready. He is in 7th. Brandon Shepard also in the mix there. In the Shepard Riggs Racing, Kevin Rumley, B5.
A shout out to Chase Younghands. He started back in 21st. He is up to 6th. Thornton is still leading 3.4 seconds as he is still out in front, but he's got some traffic as they head down the back straightaway. Off the turn. Yep.
That's a great battle here on your screen, man, between McCready, Shepard, Shirley, Moran, and Turbo. And again, those drivers are running 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. This time by 8 laps to go, and Ricky Thornton Jr. picking them up and putting them away.
And we got a car that tried to go to the infield, slides to a stop on the inside of the track. Is that Ryan Gustin, who was running 14th? That was odd because he slammed on the brakes and spun it around on the apron in the middle of the back straightaway. And the caution, the Gorsuch Performance Solutions caution is out with 67 complete, DJ.
8 laps remaining here at Knoxville, and Ricky Thornton Jr. sees a 4-second lead gone. Just like that. As quickly as it built up, it's taken away. Wow.
So go ahead, Ben. It looked like Justin was trying to pull in through the middle of the back straightaway, and he hit the brakes and spun around on the apron.
Well, I missed that part, but something that you can't deny if you look at on the scoring currently, our Big River Steel chase for the championship presented by ARP as we start to get down into crunch time. Right now, your points leader leads the way in this one. Ricky Thornton Jr. back in 3rd as the driver's 2nd in points, and Hudson O'Neill. And in the 3rd spot, Jonathan Davenport, who is 3rd in the top 4. And Brandon Overton rounds out your top 4 as at the top 5. And he is 4th in the standings, as these guys know every race matters. And those 4 have been the best 4 all year. And right now, they run in the top 5. In the order, they sit in the points nonetheless. If you take Marlar out, they are stair-stepped exactly the way they sit in our standings.
Just shows you how good these guys are in this $6.3 million season.
Isn't that something?
Amazing.
I mean, isn't that something? The cream just always rises to the top, man. It really and truly does.
Ricky Thornton Jr. disappointment last week in the World 100. As you see those 2 cars there, the 1 and the 49. They settled it 1 week ago tonight with O'Neill coming out on top. And right now, O'Neill runs 3rd, Davenport 4th. Now, will it be a single file? Because we're 8 laps to go, Dustin.
Yeah, it should be a single file restart with the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. Races that are 50 laps or more, we go to a single file restart with 10 or less laps to go. So that will be to Ricky Thornton Jr.'s advantage. Maybe not, though. Because when those guys are side by side behind him on the Delaware double file restarts, James, it kind of seems like RT's able to use that to his advantage and get a good run on these restarts.
All right, the Brandon Ford Pace Truck makes its way to the infield. 8 laps to go for $50,000. Can Marlar get his 4th? Can Thornton get his 1st? O'Neill's never won it. Davenport's the defending race winner at the Racing Freeways Restart Zone. 8 laps to go in the 19th annual Lucas Oil Late Model Knoxville Nationals. Great restart for Mikey Marlar.
It almost looked like Ricky Thornton Jr. maybe spun the tires a little bit down in turn number 4. He slides up the racetrack in front of Mike Marlar, though, trying to spoil the momentum of the 157. And when he spoils that momentum, that allows Hudson O'Neill to get a run in the Rocket 1. Jonathan Davenport in the 49 right there as well. James, this time by 7 laps to go for RTJ.
Into turn number 1. Thornton has been married to that top for quite some time now. During the race on the outside, Marlar, he'll have the run down the back straightaway. It was 0.8 of a second last time around. It may grow to a little bit more as O'Neill now will shoot to the bottom. They go side by side. O'Neill tries to throw the slider, backed out of it, out of turn 4. Great race for a second, but Thornton still leads with 6 laps remaining.
Yeah, that battle for second enabled the 20 RT to get a little bit of an advantage in front of him as he was able to get 5/10 between himself and Marlon O'Neill that last lap, James. This time, they're coming around to 5 flanges in the air. 5 laps to go for Ricky Thornton Jr., looking to become the second ever driver to sweep the Knoxville Late Model National.
And he's picked up the pace, 19.9 seconds on that last lap. Got a little sideways coming out of 2. Into turn number 3. You know Marlar's pedaling hard, but Ricky Thornton Jr. looking for his 20th win of the year in the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. He's gone over $400,000 in the series. He'll approach $1.5 million after this one if he hangs on for 4 more laps, and he looks good, Dustin. It's up to 2.3 seconds.
Indeed it is, this time by 3 laps to go. Behind him, Jonathan Davenport has pulled even with the Rocket 1 of Hudson O'Neill in turns 3 and 4. Unable to take that spot away. That might open up the door for the 4 of Brandon Overton. But again, all of this happens now nearly 3 seconds behind your race leader, Ricky Thornton Jr., who enters turns 3 and 4, coming around to 2 laps to go.
Is he doing Ricky Thornton Jr. things?
Oh, yes, he is.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter if it's a backup car, if it's a third car. He's got it tuned in. Out of turn number 2, trying to become the first driver in 13 years to sweep the weekend. Billy Moyer was the last and only driver to do it in 2010. 2 laps to go. And, no, 1 lap to go. My bad. The white flag is out at turn number 2, Dustin Jarrett.
Final time around for Ricky Thornton Jr. In 2010, Billy Moyer swept the Lucas Oil Knoxville Late Model Nationals. And in 2023, formerly out of Chandler, Arizona, then Adel, Iowa, Martinsville, Indiana's Ricky Thornton Jr. will do it again here in Knoxville. Mike Marlar finishes second. Third will go to Hudson O'Neill. 4th, Jonathan Davenport, and Brandon Overton will unofficially round out the top 5. They'll be followed unofficially by Chase Younghans, who had a great run. He finishes 6th. I believe it was Brian Shirley 7th, and then Tim McCready 8th. All of that is unofficial until it becomes official, and still a couple bits of business to take care of, though, for the driver of the Dyno One Incorporated, Hooker Trucking, Big River Steel, SSI Motorsports 20 RT, Ricky Thornton Jr. He's got to cross the scales, and he's got to pass the droop check.
Pound per lap burn off, it's 2350 minus 75 as that Midwest Shima Maloney spoiler. So Ricky Thornton Jr., 20th win this year in the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. Again, Marlar, O'Neill, Davenport, Overton, Younghans, Shirley, Moran, McCready. Now, that was important. Moran passed McCready there, I think, on the last lap there to get 8th. And then McCready 9th, Brandon Shepard 10th. DJ will figure out the Todd Steel Building's hard charger as they will go to the scales with the weight and the droop check.
First things first, the 20 RT is making his way over to the scale area, which, as you can see, sits there behind the video board in victory lane here at the Knoxville Raceway. He was 4th in this race in 2022, 1 year ago. That was his best finish.
Now, if I recall, a few years, he drove Chad Stapleton's car 1 year. Am I correct?
I believe
Ended
you're
up
right.
on its side down here in turn 4.
I believe you're correct.
So they'll head back to Indiana after this one if they can conclude the victory. There's Anthony Burrows, the crew chief, just celebrated his birthday this week.
Obviously, this would be Ricky Thornton's best finish in this race. It would also be Brandon Overton's. Previously at 9th was his best run, and unofficially coming home in 5th. And again, those 4 championship contenders, the top 4 right now, all in the top 4. But we had some hard chargers tonight, including Jonathan Davenport, 18th to 4th.
Let us know if we got a thumbs up down here on the scales. And it is.
It's official, guys. Your winner here tonight, Ricky Thornton Jr. He becomes the 14th different winner in the history of the Lucas Oil Late Model Knoxville Nationals as he brings the Todd and Vicky Burns Dyno 1 Incorporated 20 RT into victory lane. Anthony Burrows, crew chief, had a birthday yesterday. And today he celebrated yesterday with a win. Tonight, another win. Ricky Thornton Jr., his 20th VLAN feature win of the year, his 25th career Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series win, his 28th late model win of the year, 3 micro wins, 31 wins on the year, and Ricky Thornton Jr. has the Big River Steel number 20 RT atop the Big River Steel podium once again as we wait on him to climb out of the car down here in Lucas Oil Victory Lane with yet another VLAN feature win for the Midwest Sheet Metal points leader. From Arizona to Iowa, they've got a broom down here. Last time they did that, it was Billy Moyer in 2010, as those are the only 2 drivers to ever sweep this event as he gets set to climb out of the race cars. His beautiful wife, Shay, his family's down here, and he's out of the car. Ricky Thornton Jr., the winner here tonight at Knoxville. Confetti flies, $50,000. And he's got the whole family, and he sweeps it with the Sunoco Race Fuels checkered flag. Big kiss from his wife, Shay. Baby girls down here, both boys, and it has become a familiar home. He lived in Iowa for a few years, and Victory Lane this weekend at Knoxville Raceway has been home. Ricky Thornton Jr., you are a Lucas Oil Late Model Knoxville Nationals champion. How amazing does this feel to be atop this podium at this legendary oval?
Oh, it's badass, honestly. You work hard to try to be the best you can, and I mean, it's been a dream season for me. I didn't know if we were going to be good enough, honestly. I saw Bronson coming, Jake was telling me to move up, and realized I just didn't have enough balls to get up there and do what I needed to at that point. So I saw him getting closer and closer. I'm like, man, sooner or later I got to move up. And I don't know, I just drove my heart out after that, and it worked out.
A couple of red flags tonight, some long yellows. Did you have any concerns about tires sealing up, any other issues during those long breaks?
Oh, I did big time, just because you never know. I just tried as soon as we got back going, trying to get him as hot as I could. And luckily, like looking at the board, it looked like I was about the only one doing it. So I figured if mine was going to seal up, everyone else's was too. But, I mean, hats off to this team. They bust their ass. So it's pretty nice. Got to thank Hoker Trucking, Jeff and Penny are here. So it's pretty awesome. Big River Steel, Coltman Farms, Bill Stein Shocks, Longhorn Chassis. It's pretty nice to look up on the board and see a bunch of Longhorns up there. So got to thank FK Rod Ends. We put them through the test, and we ain't had a failure all year. So Midwest Sheet Metal. I hit the back straightaway wall. I felt like 15 times. I thought I was going to give it away, but it worked out. It's pretty awesome.
In the history of this event, 19 years, 2 guys have won all 3 nights. One of them is named Billy Moyer. The other one is Ricky Thornton Jr. What does it mean to be part of that elite company?
Oh, I mean, it's awesome. It's pretty cool to have the Lucas season we had. I was able to break Scott's record, and then now be able to tie Billy for sweeping the week. They're the greatest of all time in our sport. So it's pretty awesome. I think we're going to celebrate a little bit and get right back to work.
Did you just say party for the 20 RT?
Yeah, a little bit. Come on down.
Ricky Thornton Jr., your winner here tonight at Knoxville. Guys, I'm going to throw it back up top, and I'm going to catch up with our 2nd and 3rd place finishers.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Ben. Absolutely fantastic job in the infield tonight and all weekend long, as always. Unofficially, Mike Marlar 2nd, Hudson O'Neill 3rd, Jonathan Davenport 4th, and Brandon Overton 5th. Then it was Chase Younghand 6th, Brian Shirley 7th, Devin Moran 8th, Tim McCready 9th, and Brandon Shepard unofficially rounded out the top 10. And Ben is caught up with your 2nd place finisher.
2nd on our Big River Steel podium tonight, Mike Marlar. Mike, not a 4th title tonight. You were in contention. You led a few laps there, but it seemed like once Ricky got out there, you couldn't get back around him. Did you have anything else up your sleeve, or did he just have the best car?
No, my only thing up my sleeve was that last restart, and he went where I wanted him to, but he kind of slid up a little early in the corner, so I couldn't get that run I wanted. But he was better, man. He deserves the win. You know, I passed him twice, and he passed me back and drove away. So you can't blame him for that. He done a good job, and he's on a hot streak, and his team's really doing good right now. So he's the man to beat. We're close though.
How much do you love Knoxville?
I love it, man. It's an awesome racetrack. You know, you just use the whole track, race all over it, and it's definitely, they nailed it tonight, man. I thought it was a really good race. And like I say, we swapped the lead back and forth there a few times, and it was good. I love coming up here, and the fans are awesome, and they're flooding in here right now. This is going to be cool. It's going to be a big night over there.
Mike Marlar finishes 2nd here tonight. We'll catch up with our 3rd place finisher momentarily. Right here, we've got him, Hudson O'Neill. Well, Huddy, man, you snuck up in there. Those late race restarts, did you think you had anything for those top 2?
Yeah, I felt like I felt like I had something maybe a little bit for him. I just couldn't quite get a good enough run leaving the corner to get close enough to be able to clear him. And I could get off in there and get to his door, but that was about the extent of it. So, man, we'll take it. You know, we had a trying week all week. You know, we didn't have the greatest of nights in our prelims, but I felt like we made gains all weekend long, which is what I'm really proud of. And, you know, I had a great Rocket XR1, Valvoline, Soybert Calf Ranches, O'Neill Savage and Recycling, WR1 Sim Chassis, Performance Grading, Ace Metalworks, Gunner's Honey, Integra Racing Shocks, Kaiser Manufacturing, Sunoco, Andy Durham Race Engine's awesome. You know, I just Rocket Pre-Owned, Rocket Chassis, everybody back at the shop working, all my guys, Mark, Danny, Joel, Austin. My girlfriend here with us. I had a bunch of people here, supporters, and all my family at home watching. And I was happy to be on the podium tonight. Just needed just a little bit more, but there's no shame in that. You know, whenever you're racing Ricky and them guys, they've been tough all year. So, and Mike Morrow is almost the king of this place, it seems like. But I don't know. We'll jot down some notes, and maybe when we come back, we'll be just a couple of spaces forward.
Indiana's Hudson O'Neill rounds out tonight's Big River Steel podium. Guys, we'll toss